Hey guys, the Explorer of Horror here, Horrorboy465. Welcome back to some more reviews, and welcome to my review on the last one of the Prom Night franchise. I know it took me a while to get to this film, but talk about this remake is torture because it's freaking awful. I've reviewed it once, but the video's gone, so I gotta talk about it again. And it is the Prom Night remake from 2008. This is the unrated version. Has features, deleted scenes, alternate ending, gag reel, 4 behind the scenes featurettes, a commentary, and it says in the back here there's more. Now, the Prom Night remake has been said to be one of the worst remakes in horror film history. It's gone on to be, like I said, one of the worst ones. And I definitely agree with that. It gets a 3.9 on IMDb. It was made in 2008, and it was directed by Nelson McCormick, who had directed the Stepfather remake, which is as bad as this film because it has the same problems as the Prom Night remake. It has a boring atmosphere. It has a slow freaking pace. It has an awful score. It just has a lot of the same problems that the Prom Night remake has. So this director did not do a good job. At all. And it's just a remake that is pure crap, and it's lazy. It literally is one of the most typical slasher films you could see. The look of the slasher in this film is awful. It's your typical slasher look. Basically, it's just a psychotic teacher, and all he does is wear a ball cap. He wears a hat. That's all he does. That's nothing else to his character. He has a knife. That's it. He doesn't really use any other weapons in the film. I don't remember him using any other weapons in the film. The death scenes are nothing. The original movie had some pretty crazy death scenes. The decapitation scene during the prom. The scene where the van ends up going down and rolling down a hill. And there's a scene where this girl falls out of the back of this truck, and the killer in that film takes like a knife or something, like stabs her in the face. And like stabs her like all over her face and stuff. Pretty crazy death scene. Here, this movie's death scenes are freaking lazy. There's nothing to them at all. No makeup effects worth mentioning. Pretty much the effects are nothing. I can go on and on. The movie is just really bad. It's a really bad remake. It was a remake that did not need to happen because the original Prom Night is a classic. My favorite of the franchise will always be Prom Night 2, but Prom Night the original is a classic slasher film. It did not need to be remade. There was no need for a remake. Completely unnecessary. It's a remake of a slasher film, but it's PG-13. And there are times in the film they try to add suspense, and it doesn't work. It actually makes scenes draw out way too long, and it makes it kind of boring. There's no suspense whenever they try to create suspense. There's dumb characters, horrible acting, the music is awful. You have a typical slasher film, just storyline. You have a typical slasher film. Slasher did not care for the slasher at all. Don't even remember his name. I know that he is pretty much this crazy teacher who has an obsession with the character Brittany Snow, well, the character Donnie Cappell, played by Brittany Snow, who was known for the Pitch Perfect films. She was awful in this film as the freaking lead, really bad as a freaking lead. The rest of the cast I did not care for. Their acting was awful. Some of the worst characters in a slasher film. The film is boring. How is an hour and 28 minutes so freaking boring? Because it feels like I'm watching a 3-hour film or 4-hour film. I have no clue. I freaking have no clue why this movie is so boring. Because, I know why. Because, there's just nothing going on. But I just wish there would be a little bit more going on. But no, the movie feels like a 3-hour film. It's an hour and 28 minutes. It should fly by. But no, because nothing happens in the film. The suspense is not suspenseful. When they try to create it, they fail. It's boring. The list goes on. The list goes freaking on about this remake. Now, for this remake, I'm kind of debating on this video if this should be a mega ultra freaking rant or if it should be a rant. Because I hate this film. It's an awful remake. I really can't think of anything that's good about the film. I really freaking can't. So you know what, guys? It's been a while since I've actually freaking destroyed a film. I'm not thinking about it. This may be a mega ultra freaking rant because the more I think about it, I don't like anything from this film. It's a PG-13 slasher film, which is awful. The suspense is nothing. Now, if the suspense was good, you could have built some really good suspense scenes, then okay. I mean, it would have been a suspenseful horror film, or, you know, even though it's meant to be a slasher film, I know it's not really, you know, basing itself off a slasher film, but it has death scenes in it that are tame. So I don't know. I mean, is it trying to be a slasher film or a suspenseful horror? It has it's a slasher film with suspense in it, but you know the suspense is awful. So the suspense isn't good in it at all. The characters are awful. The acting's awful. I really can't think of anything that's good about this film. The slasher is so typical. He has a baseball cap and a knife. That's it. There's no other death scenes that he used. At least I don't remember any death scenes where he uses anything else but a freaking knife. And the prom setting in this film is freaking awful. They did not handle the prom atmosphere right. In the original film and in Prom Night 2, they had some pretty good prom scenes. I mean, the first one did, the second one kind of did, but the third and fourth one had awful ones. But I would say this is worse than Prom Night 4. This is way worse than Prom Night 4. Because Prom Night 4, even it being a really bad sequel, this remake did not need to happen. This remake is more boring than Prom Night 4. And Prom Night 4 is very boring, but this film feels way more boring than Prom Night 4. The characters are worse in this film than they are in Prom Night 4. Prom Night 4 actually had makeup effects and death scenes. This movie has nothing. All the death scenes are pretty much the same. Just quick shots of the killer stabbing people, you know, over and over again, and then it had a quick cut to another scene. So I really can't think of anything that's good about this film. So I haven't destroyed a film in a while. I know that. I haven't found a movie to destroy in a while, but I shall destroy this film because it deserves it. So I went right behind my computer, right back here, stew back way back there. But let's get into Prom Night the Remake. Now, Prom Night the Remake, it starts off with the character Brittany Stowe, or the Brittany Stowe character, what's her name? Donna. She gets out of her car with her friends. She goes into her house. Her family is dead. Nothing graphic. She ends up hiding underneath the bed. The killer ends up being an obsessed teacher. He is actually really obsessed with Donna's character. And she survives that night by hiding. She witnesses her mother being killed. And pretty much after that, you've got Lyndon Ashby playing her uncle. And you got her uncle and her aunt. They're taking care of her now. It's during prom. The freaking killer escapes in one of the most easiest ways I've seen a killer escape in a slasher film. So he escapes from the asylum, whatever. Typical. Really typical. All he does is put a suit on or whatever and put a baseball cap on and has a knife. That's it. And I know that in the original Prom Night, the look of the killer wasn't much, but I thought it actually gave the film, for some reason, the first Prom Night, you wouldn't think it would be, you know, an iconic look because all it is a ski mask and black clothes, but I thought that the little things helped it stand out. You know, first of all, the ski mask, the axe, and the piece of the broken mirror. Those things sort of made it stand out a little bit, at least for me. In this film, this slasher is one of the most typical slashers I've seen in a slasher film. And pretty much, prom's going on. Donna and her friends, they go to the prom. You have attempted character build-up scenes which fail because they're boring, their acting sucks. You have a boring lead up to where the character finally to where the killer finally gets to the prom, and then from there on you see quick flashes of people getting stabbed multiple times until the end of the film happens where Donna gets out of there, and ends up getting, a little bit of protection from the police, goes back to her house. The police officer, I could not stand this scene. And this was something that I mentioned in my other review as well. I cannot stand, I don't understand how this police officer is this blind. This police officer is sitting right next to a power box. And he's on the driver's side, and the driver's side is right next to the power box, like right next to it. But somehow, and he's paying attention to everything, somehow the killer opened up the power box, cut the wires so there's no more power in the house, and sneaked past into the house while the police officer was sitting in the car. And he wasn't like, he wasn't like distracted or anything like that. No, he was just sitting there. And then he looks over, at least I don't remember him being distracted or anything like that. He looks over and realizes the wires are cut. I'm like, dude, are you blind? I don't know how he didn't see this killer. The killer gets inside the house, chases Donna a little bit, failed suspense. He gets Donna on the ground. You think he's going to stab Donna character. He gets shot multiple times by the police officers. The movie pretty much ends, and that is it for the Prom Night remake. That's pretty much it. The death scenes, like I said, they're the same thing. People, either one gets their throat slit, the rest get stabbed multiple times. That's it. That's all the death scenes are. And they're quick cuts, or it'll cut to something really quick, and you don't see the death scene at all. You don't see any practical effects. Just an awful remake. Quick cuts. I hate the way the film is shot. It has a boring atmosphere, a boring score, boring characters, a freaking awful and boring pace. I don't really know what much more I can say about the Prom Night remake. I threw it back there. It's like right behind my desk now. Try to get it a little bit. Yeah, it's like right behind my desk. But the Prom Night remake is just freaking awful. It's awful. So that's why I decided to make a freaking rant on it, because there's not really much to it. There's not really much, there's nothing I like about it. It's an awful remake. It shouldn't have happened. There was no need for this remake. And, yeah. I mean, I know that was one of the more shorter Make Ultra Freaking Rants, but I got nothing else to say about it. It's freaking awful. It's a pile of crap remake. And that's pretty much it. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching my rant on the Prom Night remake. Thanks for watching my reviews on the Prom Night franchise. The first two are really good. They're both classics. After that, 3 is barely watchable, 4 is awful, and the remake is awful. With 4 being one of the worst sequels I've ever seen, and the remake being one of the worst remakes I've ever seen. But the first 2 movies are great. I love the first 2 movies, but after that, it kind of went downhill. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching my reviews on the Prom Night franchise. And yeah, thanks for watching my reviews. This was fun videos to do. And I'll see you guys on the next review. Bye, guys.